Good evening. It looks like a bit of bad publicity is a better deterrent than border force. A few people highlighted a man claiming to be an Afghan migrant by the name of Madha Passa. He made threats to kill and was videoed with guns and drugs. So I want to make something very clear. I showed videos of him, not to make him famous, as some people are suggesting, but to try to show the kind of people who are coming across the channel. We know about him because he filmed himself, but there are thousands just like him. These are the men who want to move in next to you. We're not talking about doctors and engineers here. We're not talking about women and children. He doesn't even actually say that he needs asylum. He just wants to come to Britain for a new life. Well, then last night, this video emerged.
You must know these people work here right now. He don't wanna take me to London. He think if you go to London, I gonna make problem to all people. I gonna show the police when I here, Madha Passa.
Yeah, so because of the publicity, human traffickers are apparently refusing to take him at the moment because they think that he'll be arrested when he arrives in Britain and he'll tell police about who the traffickers are. So he is obviously still trying to come to Britain, though. Maybe he will. But the points are this, OK? Firstly, he says that everyone is walking around with guns. Well, what are we paying the French police for? Are we all allowed to walk around with guns? No. Secondly, the traffickers obviously don't like publicity. It scares them. Why are politicians and the media not doing more to highlight who they are? Get their faces out there for all to see. Thirdly, by highlighting what these people really are, it destroys the narrative of charities like Care for Calais and the Refugees Welcome Brigade. Now, the mainstream media, they don't want to do that because of corporate commercial pressure. They did the same thing with Black Lives Matter, even when it turned out to be a largely Marxist organisation and one of the co-founders reportedly used money to build a property empire. But the point of me showing Madha Passa's videos isn't to turn him into a celebrity, it's to show what's really going on. On the other side of the channel, there are guns and drugs everywhere. Violent young men who've chanced their arm in the rest of Europe are not even claiming to actually need asylum until they speak to a lawyer in Britain. And French police are doing precious little with your cash. He did also put this video out there.
Englishman, you must come here, take me to UK, because I don't want to stay here.
Well, I certainly will not be taking him to the UK. But there are two realities. There's the fake one that the Refugees Welcome Brigade want you to believe, and then there's the real one that I will keep highlighting until eventually someone does something to stop it. Let's get our thoughts of the panel. We've got former Tory MP Michelle Donnellan, political commentator Alex Armstrong, and journalist and broadcaster JJ Anasobi. Alex, I'll start with you on this. I know you feel passionately about this kind of stuff. I mean, you know, you've got these chaps here who are coming across the channel and, you know, it's only, in my view anyway, by highlighting who they are and what's really going on. I don't think the rest of the media does enough to show that, to destroy the narrative.
No, the rest of the media deliberately try and hide it in many cases. We were talking about this last week, I think, Pat, actually. Some of the asylum seekers and illegal migrants who have come to the country committed crimes they were covering up on the BBC. They weren't even mentioning that they were asylum seekers. There is an active, some sort of deterrent inside these organisations that makes them not want to talk about it. For me, I think something you pointed out that was really interesting there, Pat, is France. How much money we're giving France to basically send these migrants here. We're paying them $500 million, I think it was. $500 million, was it? Under the last Tory government? And yet France has no reason to want to stop them. Why would they want these migrants to stay in their country? We've got what you're doing by putting a picture, a spotlight on this guy is saying, we don't want these people here, and you're actively getting the conversation started.
I mean, if it's true, which is what I mean, there are loads of other videos which we're not putting out there of, you know, the amount of guns and weapons that are just around this guy there. It does beg the question: what on earth are we paying the French for?
It does. It raises a lot of questions. And this is an individual that is worrying in himself. He's got a machine gun tattooed to his face. And this is the type of people, the profile of a number of the people that want to come to this country illegally, which is a crime in itself, which it's almost become not PC to admit that it's a crime to try and get into this country illegally. And we've really got to do something about it and stop pretending that these are all poor women and children fleeing from persecution and war. You know, there are some of those people who We've got legal routes to try and protect, but there's equally people like this individual who want to come here to become a TikTok star by the looks of it, looking at all of his videos that he's putting out there on social media.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a guy there who doesn't even say in any of his videos that he wants to claim asylum. He's quite open. He's tried his hand in Sweden. He's been through Germany. He's in France now. And what he wants to come to England for a new life. But this is the impression that we are clearly giving to the world, which is that you can come to Britain for a new life. And then they get very close to Calais, they probably meet some of these charitable groups, and they get to Britain and they meet a lawyer, and all of a sudden they become asylum seekers and refugees. I mean, is this just a con, JJ?
Can I call you Pat as well? Because I was calling you Pat.
You can
is that okay?
Call whatever you like. Yeah.
Well, Pat, I do think that this guy is probably part of the minority of people who are coming across and are dangerous and just coming over essentially for a better life. There's no real crime with wanting to come over for a better life, but the way in which they're doing it, obviously, is against the law in the way that the laws are stacked up now, which is what I've said previously. We should have centres set up in Calais, in Tunisia, in Algeria, in Libya to process people there, and then anyone who comes across on a dinghy, then automatically you're being sent back because you haven't gone through the proper routes. But there are plenty of women and children who still cannot come across the legal route because they're not able to apply from where they are. And our laws, it's down to this country, our laws state that you have to be on British soil for some people to be able to claim asylum. However, with this guy and the guns, my other question is, sorry, Michelle, my other question is, where are these people getting the guns from? That's not... We're saying...
Criminals, aren't they?
Yeah, so we're blaming the French police, but somewhere along the way between them getting across from North Africa and going through Italy and Greece, they're getting these guns. So what's the rest of Europe doing to stop that from happening?
But fine, but it's also that there's no deterrent to having that. I mean, he describes quite openly this kind of lawless zone where you see people with drugs and guns, etc. Now, this isn't, a million miles away. This is just on the other side of the channel. And I feel as though, Alice, we're being asked to suspend belief here. When you see the people like, the Refugees Welcome Brigade that are all out there with the signs, which also tends to have Socialist Workers' Party written below it as well, almost like it's an organised thing. We're being asked not to believe what we can see with our own eyes. And the media seems to have no appetite to go after it. There's a lot of corporate pressure and commercial pressure in that you don't want to annoy groups or be seen to annoy groups like Care for Calais. But my point would be how many people in Britain have to be put at risk for you to, not take the dollar?
Well, I mean, this is the thing, right? I mean, no offence to you, Michelle, because I know you were part of the last government, but we had 14 years of a Conservative government who have, in my opinion, willfully ignored this issue. I will give them credit for trying to set up a deterrent and to start to change the narrative, because it was the Tories that started to change the narrative on illegal immigration. I give them credit for that. But there is this active, as I said before, some sort of deterrent within these established political parties and the established media that don't want to talk about this. And I think it's part of a wider agenda. Obviously, for them, they see population increases, increasing GDP, which we now know is not doing it per capita.
So I think part of the problem was that we did talk about it a lot, but we didn't actually deliver the goods, which was the major problem. And since I make no excuses for the previous government that I was part of, we failed on this. And that's one of the major reasons that we were booted out so dramatically. But what we've seen under this government is the numbers going up. Dramatically, and that is terrifying when you look at individuals like this. Can
I also just point out, right, that this ridiculous notion that it is difficult to smash the gangs. Now, I understand that it is a bit like drug dealing in a sense of, you can take a couple of foot soldiers off the streets and then, there's a bigger group of people there. But the reality is that individual sent out some TikTok videos detailing his journey across Europe. He, during one of those videos, appeared to threaten Nigel Farage and then me as well. We then highlighted it. I said to him, on a GB News mono that I did, I said, get in touch with me, give me details, and I'll go to Northern France and I'll meet up with you and we can talk about why you're not a danger, OK? Within 24 hours, he's seen that in the Calais jungle and done a response video. And he's saying he's surrounded by these human traffickers, etc. It's very easy to find out where these human traffickers are, to find out who they are, to do something about it. We are clearly just not trying. We just mustn't be trying. Keir Starmer's saying he wants to smash the gangs, JJ. I mean, just find out exactly where that guy is, and they're all around him.
But you make it sound as if the Labour government and then the Tory government also are deliberately not trying to find the gangs. I don't think it's as simple as we think it is then. It simply can't be. It cannot be as simple as we think it is, because if it was that simple, we'd have smashed the gangs by now. I can't see why...
Know if they want to.
This is the thing, JD. There's actually people online, people on Twitter who have been tracking this guy for months. If a normal citizen can track them, you're telling me that our intelligence services cannot track someone with a mobile phone and a TikTok account.
But you're tracking one guy, you're not tracking the traffickers.
They're around.
Yeah, but they're all connected, right? I mean, you've just got to follow his path, and that's probably the path that so many others have taken. So I think it's just an excuse. And I don't think Keir Starmer and Labour really do want to do something about this because it's not within their narrative.
The point being is they don't like pressure. So what he's saying is that so far, today, he was offering cash to someone and he was offering his phone number to someone to try and take him to the beach, and they were saying no because you're going to cause us too much. You brought too much heat to our door, basically. If that's all it takes, I get the fact this guy's ridiculously probably still going to end up in prison at one point, but why can't we get out there, take pictures of who these people are, put their faces up everywhere and scare them a bit?
So I think we should be doing that for those that we know about and those that we have intelligence on, naming and shaming in effect. But I do think it comes back to needing a deterrent as well. You break the actual buy-in for people to want to approach these gangs if they believe that they're not actually going to get here and stay here. That's the fundamental thing that we're not now addressing.
This is clearly you've just produced a great TV show. Alex and Pat smash the gangs.
Yeah,
I'll watch it.
We'll do a better. I tell you what, we'll do a better job than Keir Starmer with smashing the gangs. Me and Pat out there with a camera. They won't be coming here for years.